Welcome everyone to Philly Soundcast number 7, dedicated to the unsung heroes of rock. The men and women who are the people behind the people that grow to superstars in their field. The hired guns who are called upon to do what they do. How do you think Elvis Costello and Paul McCartney got together? Was it their agents calling each other to set up the union of the two brilliant artists? Or did someone else make it happen? Today, Doug Schaub is talking with world-renowned drummer Jerry Marotta, who over the years, along with his brother Rick, have carved out a name for themselves in the recording and performing of a wide variety of music. Working with artists such as Peter Gabriel, Paul McCartney, Elvis Costello, Stevie Nicks, Philly's own Hall & Oates, and many more. If you were, or still do read the liner notes on your LPs and CDs, chances are you will find Jerry's name listed as a contributor. Now, here's Doug Schaub on the 7th Philly Soundcast, telling the musical stories originating in and passing through the city of brotherly love.
All right, we're on the phone with Jerry Marotta, who is a legend in his own time, one of those unsung heroes, hired guns, so to speak, of the rock, pop, and jazz world. And Jerry, I see you've worked with a who's who in rock and roll and such. Peter Gabriel, Hall & Oates, Stevie Nicks, Elvis Costello, McCartney, Carly Simon, and the list goes on and on. Welcome to the program.
Oh, thanks. Thank you, Doug. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, one of those bands on your list is Orleans. If I get the math correct, you were 2 years removed from high school when you were in a professional rock and pop band.
Oh yeah, and that wasn't even my first band. It was far from it. I graduated high school a year early after 11th grade, and I went to summer school, and about a week before summer school was over, I got an opportunity to go on tour with a band that was on Columbia that my brother had done their record. My brother Rick is a drummer as well.
Right.
My older brother. And they had a top 40 single. This is 1973. I got this opportunity, but they were going out on the road a week before summer school was over. So I went to my teachers. I explained the situation, and my teachers gave me my final exams. I took them on the road with me. And I was, 16 or 17. And so that was a band called Arthur Hurley and Gottlieb. They were based in Florida. And they were very much like Crosby, Stills and Nash. That's the first band I went out on tour with a record, and it was not long after that. Maybe it was 1975 when I auditioned and ended up joining Orleans. And I worked with them for about 2 years, which was great. And in that period of time, we recorded a record called Waking and Dreaming and a song called Still the One, which
huge.
Hopefully that won't make people hate me. That song is still on the radio all the time.
Yeah, it's a huge hit. I mean, our local TV station here in Philadelphia used to use that as their theme song too.
Well, that year, ABC Television used it as their theme song.
They're a ABC affiliate, exactly. Yeah.
Right, and this is in 1976. Now, that song only went to number 2. Ironically, a little trivia. We would have been number 1, except the number 1 song in the country was a song called Disco Duck.
Oh, my gosh.
And it was a novelty song. And so there was no beating Disco Duck. We couldn't beat Disco Duck. I joined Orleans in 75, and then in 77, the lead guy in the band, John Hall, quit. He quit the band, which I was heartbroken because I loved Orleans. They were one of my favorite bands. And somehow, miraculously, within a month or two, I had gotten an opportunity to go to England and tour and play with an English singer named Peter Gabriel. And I didn't know who Peter Gabriel was.
No, really?
I mean, I had no idea. No, my background was like Motown, rock and soul kind of thing. I was not a rock fan at the time.
How did he find you? I mean,
you know what? That's a good question. I don't know the exact story. One story is that Tony Levin, who had worked with my brother my older brother a lot, might have and who I knew, but I hadn't really played with. Tony might have recommended either my brother or me. And as it turns out, my older brother was like one of the most in-demand drummers in New York for sessions, and played on millions of records.
Well, anybody used to read liner notes or the credits on the back of an album cover. No, you and your brothers. They should.
Right.
I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, that's when I all started. I was probably 16 or 17, and that just went on from there. I mean, so I started playing with Peter Gabriel when I was 20, and that was just after Orleans temporarily split up.
Yeah.
I was really blessed, big time.
I was going to say that. Like, after nearly 10 years with Peter Gabriel and a few years of working with Hall & Oates during that time, you must have been the busiest guy in music.
There was a remarkable period of time where I was working with Daryl and John and Peter, and they were both, for about 2 years, they were working it out so that when I would work with each of them, and they would plan whatever they were doing around my schedule. I know that sounds, to me, now it sounds hard to believe, but
it's awesome.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was an incredible time.
So maybe it's a typo or like one of those Watergate things, but on your resume there's like a 5-year gap after the Hall & Oates Gabriel thing, and then you kind of hook up with the Indigo Girls and do work with them.
But in that 5-year period, I was mostly just doing records with people like Bonnie Tyler, Cher.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I did a ton of records back then. I can't even remember. If I look at the list, it's always funny because I remember things like Maria McKee from Lone Justice.
Right.
Or Shriekback. There's so many that I still, when I go and look at the list, it's like, oh wow, Terrence Trent D'Arby. I always forget Terrence Trent D'Arby. And I also, when you were reading down the initial list of people, I have to make sure I put Spider-Man on there, because I did a record with Spider-Man in the 70s.
Spider-Man. So is this a novelty?
You know what? It's not a joke on my part, but it was a Spider-Man record. I do own it. Somebody had the idea to have Spider-Man make a record, and that's what we did. I ended up playing drums on some of that or all of that. That's a credit that oftentimes falls through the cracks.
I'm a free flyer. I'm a high wire. I'm a man. I'm the Spider-Man.
Then the Security Project forms. It's pretty much a supergroup of behind-the-scenes type guys, is the best way I can put it. With the exception of maybe Happy Rhodes now, who's a big Philly favorite.
Absolutely. Love Happy.
Where you re-envision the music of Peter Gabriel, Genesis, Kate Bush.
Security Project was formed probably about, maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Has this pretty much been your go-to job ever since then? I know you got the studio.
Yeah, no, I do. I have a variety of people that I work with. I do shows with Anthony Rapp and Adam Pascal, the two guys that were the stars of the show Rent on Broadway. I love playing with them. And Anthony is now in the new Star Trek television show. I worked for the last 5 or 6 years with a woman named Linda Edders, who's a phenomenal singer, very much like Barbra Streisand, who was one of the stars of Jekyll and Hyde. Just yet another Broadway connection. But Linda's got she's one of the best singers I've ever played with. She's phenomenal. I'm playing in a band called Annie and the Hedonists, which I've been doing for about 2 years. I have a group called Reelin' in the Years that we do the music of Steely Dan, which is just purely fun. Yeah. And it's a big band that's anywhere from 9 to 13 people.
Wow.
And that's a lot of fun to do. I really enjoy that. I have a thing called Fragile Faith, which is kind of an ambient project that I've been doing with Rupert Greenall from The Fix, the band The Fix, and Eric Taylor. I have the Marotta Brothers band, which I started last year with my brother Rick, who lives on Martha's Vineyard in the summer. So I talked him into doing this project, and so we played every week all summer on Martha's Vineyard.
Nice.
And that's been really great. That's really fun to do. And I'm just in Florida now working on configuring a new group of people that I've been playing with. It's just, I did a record with a singer-songwriter named Jeff Whitfield, who lives down here. We did that up at my studio, Dreamland. And the guy who brought it up there is a producer, bass player, and engineer named Bobby Croft, who worked with Derek Trucks when he was a teenager, and then also played with Greg Allman for years, among other people. And then John Zeman, who's a guitar player that I played with on the Vineyard, who's in the Marotta Brothers, he's down here during the winter. So I pulled together Zeman and Jeff Whitfield and Bob. So we did our first gig 2 nights ago as a quartet, double guitar thing, which is nothing like any of the other bands I play in. It's being totally different and just so much fun, you know.
So basically,
rock and blues thing.
Don't want to trivialize it, but you've traveled the world as a musician, probably never had a day job, and you live in the mythical town of Woodstock. That's a pretty good life.
Well, you know what? I did have a day job actually when I was in high school. I worked since I was 13.
I don't know if I count that, but yeah, you have experienced the blue collar side of life.
Well, I have to tell you, I mean, I've always enjoyed everything that I did.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So,
yeah,
it wasn't like, oh, I hate this. I hate this job.
So I mean,
this job and shove it.
Right. The music industry is it's not what it used to be. Recorded music doesn't sell like it used to. Many artists have found that they can make the money in live performing, but I wonder if it's had the same effect on you with your many irons in the fire, so to speak.
Big time. As a matter of fact, it's funny, but one at the top of my list right now of projects is I've done a record. I have a record out that I did with a guitar player, singer named Flav Martin.
Yes.
We've been working on it for like 2.5 years, and it's out now. Flav Martin, Jerry Marotta. It's called Soul Redemption.
Right.
And I have like a promo guy in Europe. I have a promotional guy here in the States. I have another guy who's doing social media and marketing who was with Sony and pumping it like crazy all over social media and whatnot. And for the last month or two, and I think we've sold maybe 25 CDs.
Brutal.
Which is incredibly disappointing, and the record is fantastic.
What's the truth, my baby? Maybe we can seek it out. As for now, my lady, I got a plan no one can doubt. Maybe we can go out seeking soul redemption.
It's a great record. I mean, I don't mean to. Flav wrote it. I mean, I produced it. I'm like super proud of the way that record turned out, and I'm super excited about it. And I don't know. There's some downloads. We've started giving away some songs. I don't know what you have to do. A lot of people, I think, they're streaming it on Spotify or Pandora.
Right. Right.
There's a lot of ways to have something. You pay Spotify $10 a month, and you can get all the music you want.
And you'll see a penny or two every time yours is played.
You know what? I don't even think about the money.
Yeah.
I just want to see that it's getting out there and people are responding to it.
Yeah.
So that's a very important project for me. And we're going to do some touring. We've been focusing on Europe, and we were looking at November, and that is too early. All the venues are booked. So we had to change our plan, and we're looking at like February, March now.
So you're talking like small coffee houses and things like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
But like you said, everybody's out playing. Everybody.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, that's the way you sell CDs. Is you play at a gig and people buy your CD.
Right. If that's the way it's got to be, I guess that's the way it's got to be. But it's got to be tough on you after a while. What do you prefer, the studio work or the road work?
I love playing live, and I love being in the studio. To be honest with you, I don't want to do any one thing over and over again.
Yeah.
I like mixing it up. I like producing. I like playing on people's records. I like running the studio, and I have my own studio in my home called Caiazzo, and I do a lot of work there. I worked on a Sarah McLachlan record at my place. I did drums for the Indigo Girls there. I've done drums for a lot of different people. have done that out of my house.
Yeah.
And I like to mix it up. I like to mix it up. But I have to be honest with you, I love playing live. Love it. There's nothing like it.
Gets the juices flowing, huh?
Yeah, and there's no stopping, starting, fixing, talking. Why don't you try this or that? It's just you just play.
Right.
Play.
Yeah, in the digital domain, it's so easy to say, wait a minute, I think I can do that better. Let's back it up here.
Sure.
Yeah. I did see pictures of Dreamland Studios, the studio on the website. Man, that is beautiful. It's like a converted church.
Amazing place. Amazing place. It's been an old church built in the 1880s.
Awesome. I recommend anybody listening to Google Dreamland Studios and take a look at this. It's like a Carrier and I's postcard,
It really is a fantastic place, and we've had such great luck with artists coming in. We've done Lake Street Dive, the National, the Fleet Foxes, Phil Lesh, I think, or Bob Weir, one or both.
Huh.
We've had so many great artists coming and going. Yes, I can't even. The Dr. Dog, the B-52s.
Dr. Dog. That's Philly pride.
Yeah, they're Philly guys. Exactly. Yeah.
They're doing very well.
We've had just great. Joey Alexander, who's like a jazz prodigy, 15-year-old jazz pianist. He did his record at our place. It's a residential studio. We have bedrooms. It's a nice property with 3 buildings. We've got accommodation.
It's awesome.
It's great. It's a great place.
I envy you. I really do. I'm going to move on, and we'll do a thing called the name game. I mention a name,
Sure.
you throw out whatever comes to your mind. We'll start with Elvis Costello.
Brilliant. You want more than one word?
Oh, if you can, elaborate a little bit. Easy to work with.
Elvis was amazing to work with. That record Spike it had been almost finished, and then they brought me in for 2 days to overdub drums on it.
Oh.
And we ripped through like 7 or 8 songs in 2 days.
Wow.
And I loved working with him. And after that was over, he contacted me about going out and touring with him, which at the time I was still deeply connected to Gabriel, so I didn't do that.
Yeah. Okay, how about Stevie Nicks?
They're almost the same situation. I love Stevie. I love Fleetwood Mac. They're one of my favorite bands. So they had recorded the whole record, like painstakingly, and I think they must have used drum machines. And in the end, they wanted to put real drums on it. I think Tony Levin played bass. I played drums. Rupert Hine was the producer. Went into the studio in L.A. for 2 days, and we knocked out, 8 or 9 songs. And Stevie, it wasn't, we didn't directly interact because it was really just me and Tony. But it was so great to be around her because the woman is like a total icon. And, to me, she's a genius. Super sweet.
Yeah.
Funny, I asked her, the big question I asked her was, how, with 3 people in a band that all have very successful solo careers, how did Fleetwood Mac stay together? And she said, Jerry, we felt like if any one of us quit, that would be the end of Fleetwood Mac, and none of us wanted to be responsible for the end of Fleetwood Mac. So we actually stayed together. Christine McVie did eventually quit the band.
Right.
And I think now she's back in the band.
She is, but here's the shakeup now with that theory. Lindsey Buckingham was booted out.
I heard that.
Yeah, and I think Mike Campbell from Tom Petty's band and I think Neil Finn is on board.
Is that true? Neil Finn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're...
Love Neil. Love the Finn brothers.
How about David Gilmour? What can you say about David? Did you...
Not a thing. I never played with him.
How about the Dream Academy? Were you involved in those sessions? Or?
Not on the record that David did, but I did the next record, which Hugh Padgham produced.
Okay.
And that was a great experience. Nick Laird Clues is the lead singer and writer.
Right.
And that guy is like a genius songwriter.
I know.
Incredible.
Again, you talk about your CD not selling. That band didn't get its due either.
Well, they had that first record, The Night in Life in a Northern Town.
Yeah, but even...
That was back when records still sold.
Yeah, exactly.
But the one that I did, I don't know whatever happened with it.
It wasn't as good as, but it was still a quality piece of music. Start to finish. I got it in my collection.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
No, phenomenal record. Probably might have been better than the previous record. But, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Nick was could be a bit of a quirky, unusual character. And sometimes in the music business, that can torpedo your support from, the record company.
I hear you. All right, how about Paul McCartney?
Well,
what can you say?
Paul, I spent, a couple months at Paul's place working on that record. It was Paul, Eric Stewart from 10cc.
Yep.
And Hugh Patchen was the producer engineer. He's the one who he got me on the project. And that was just such a great experience. And Paul, he's amazing, to be around a guy who's, probably the most famous working class musician on the planet.
So again,
maybe Springsteen comes to mind as well. Just a guy who's just going to be playing, whether he's playing in a coffee shop or he's playing in a stadium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Paul was a Beatle. Forget about it.
Yeah, what do you do?
It was such a great time working on that.
You're just honored to be making music with the man.
What was interesting is when I was working with Paul, he was talking about how I guess there were people that were trying to get he and Elvis Costello together because they wanted to find somebody who was kind of a foil in the same way that Lennon was.
Yes.
And it makes sense to Elvis. So when 6 months later I'm working on Elvis's record, and when I was working with Paul, they had never, it had never happened. They never wrote together. When I worked on Elvis's record, we recorded, I think, 3 songs that Paul co-wrote with Elvis. And that one of them was called Veronica, which is a huge hit.
Mm-hmm.
And
I remember it, yeah.
And I asked Elvis about that. What happened? Because Elvis said, I don't really write with anybody. I just write myself. I write on my own. And then he said, Jerry, I finally kind of gave in because my managers and people were kind of really, really wanted to see this happen. So he said, sometimes you've got these, as a writer, you've got these songs that you can never quite finish, and they're just kicking you around. So he said, I thought, well, I'll give Paul a couple of those songs, some song ideas and he said, I didn't know what was going to happen. The worst thing that in the world that could happen is nothing. And the best thing that could happen is I liked what he did. And he said, he got his first draft back of the first song from Paul, and he said, I really liked what he did. I liked what he did a lot. So we continued to write a few more songs. That was an interesting year.
That would have been great to see that go a little bit further. I think Paul is in need of a collaborator right now.
A lot of guys his age are. In fact, I have to say this, and it ties in with Billy. I always say this. I don't believe any one of those people that were around, like Paul Simon, Billy Joel, Elton John, all of these, will go right down the list of names. No one is writing on anywhere near the level that they were when they were in their heyday,
right,
except for one person, and that's Todd Rundgren. I think Todd Rundgren is the most underrated, popular, appreciated. The guy continues to make records, and he just writes better now than he did 45 years ago.
The last record was really good.
I don't remember the name of it.
Neither do I. But
there was one called Arena. Then he did an EDM, like a dance record.
Yeah.
He just does. He switches up dramatically. But his songwriting and his lyrics they're always unbelievable.
I went to see him at there's a World Cafe Live venue here. I was expecting Todd Rundgren, traditional Todd Rundgren, and I got Todd Rundgren with 2 go-go dancers and a DJ. And he was just up there, singing off of tracks and things like that. I was a little disappointed, but I appreciate his art. He gets out and does different things. And it was not what I was expecting, that's for sure.
Well, that's the thing about him that you got to love.
Yeah, yep, exactly. And now we got Utopia coming, so that should be interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Security Project is you're doing a May-June East Coast mini tour, I guess, appearing locally.
Exactly.
Locally here at the Sellersville Theater in Sellersville, PA.
Love playing Sellersville. What a great venue for them.
Yeah, it's a great little place. If you want tickets or more information, you can check out jerrymarotta.com. That's MAROTTA.com, or go to securityprojectband.com, and they got a /go on here. I don't know why, but securityprojectband.com.
The go might put you right in the ticket. Like go to a show.
Okay.
And then we have a Facebook page. It's easy to find. I would really recommend, if you haven't seen this band, it's really important. David Jemison, the keyboard player, is phenomenal. Michael Costello, guitar player. Trey Gunn is, the guy is like a genius. And then Happy Rose is singing, and so it's far from a tribute band.
Oh, definitely. Well, they can go to YouTube and just Google Security Project Happy Roads, and you'll get the current incarnation. And there's some good video up there, you guys. In fact, Trey put up a thing from Sellersville last time he came through, a montage of some of the songs.
Right.
So get an idea. It's a great night out, that's for sure.
You did talk to Trey about this tour?
No, the last time he came through, I interviewed Trey.
He's an interesting, interview.
He's a great guy. He's just a fascinating person to talk to, as are you. I love getting in touch with the people behind the scenes, the people that helped make some of the greatest records that are out there.
Yeah,
and
super.
I love your perspective on the stories and things like that. It's always fascinating. I think the listeners like it too. So we'll have to do this again sometime.
Yes, please.
All right.
And hopefully you'll come to Sellersville.
I'll be there. I'll definitely be there.
Let me know. Let me know you're there.
Okay. Yeah, I'll figure out. It's small enough over there. Well, I'll run into you.
Yeah, please do.
I will. Again,
right,
we've been talking to legendary drummer Jerry Marotta. I almost forgot your name. I was going to say Rick, but I caught myself. Jerry Marotta. Just go into the record store, pick up any record, and flip it over, and there's a good chance you're going to see Jerry's name on it, or his brother Rick, for that matter. Again, thanks a lot, Jerry, with Security Project. Look forward to seeing you then.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Doug.
You got it. Take care, man.
Yeah.